Congratulations! Your decision to become an acolyte is an important one for you and for your church. As you learn about being an acolyte, feel free to ask questions about what things mean or why you are doing something. The more you understand, the more meaningful your time as an acolyte will be. What is an acolyte anyway? The word acolyte comes from the Greek word akoluthos, which means follower or one who helps. These trained people are called acolytes, and it was their job to be assistants wherever Christians gathered for worship. You might say that an acolyte is a special kind of minister, not a pastor, but a kind of minister who helps with worship. What does worship mean to you? When you come to worship, you gather with other believers to pray and listen and sing and celebrate. As an acolyte, you are both a worshiper and a worship leader. The more involved you are as a worshiper, the better leader you will be. As an acolyte, you should actively participate in all parts of worship. The acolyte is really part of a team of worship leaders that includes the pastors, the musicians, and the other speakers. As one of the leaders of worship, you become an example for others. As a leader, you want to look your best and also treat the worship area with respect. You probably already know many of the things necessary to help with worship. For example, it is helpful for the acolytes to learn different parts of the church so they will understand what people mean when they refer to them. The narthex is the area that serves as the entryway into the main worship space. It is where the acolyte closet is located. In the front of the narthex is the nave. The nave is the main area where worshipers sit. The chancel is the area in front of the nave, and it has raised steps. Worship is led from the chancel. It is where the altar or communion table stands. The sanctuary is the name given to the entire worship building. It is also helpful for an acolyte to know some of the objects that are used in worship. Many of the objects we use today are reminders of what the early Christians used. Some traditions call this object an altar. Others call it a table. We'll refer to it as an altar table. The altar table reminds us that Christian worship began at the table with a meal during the early years of Christianity. Believers gathered around the table in their homes to celebrate the Lord's Supper. Today, the altar table is a place where we celebrate Holy Communion. The lectern is a place where the Bible is placed for reading. The pulpit is the place from which sermons may be preached. Two objects of worship that you have probably seen in your church are the chalice and paten. The chalice is a large cup used to hold the grape juice for communion. The paten is the plate which holds the bread or wafers. Sometimes a special basket is used to hold the bread. The candle lighter is an instrument you will learn to use. One end is used to light the candles. This end has a small lighter containing candle oil and a wick. The other end of the candle lighter looks like a bell, and it is called a snuffer. It is used to put out the candles. Care should be taken to hold the candle lighter upright and away from your clothing. This keeps the oil from spilling and prevents the black wick from leaving marks on your robe. Acolytes may wear many different types of clothing. In our church, the acolytes wear special clothes called vestments or robes. They look a little unusual now, but they were an ordinary type of clothes for some of the early Christians. You will need to know the right way to put on your robe and how to hang it properly. We have lots of different robe sizes, and we will help you find your size. In your work as an acolyte, you will probably come across many different Christian symbols. These symbols help us worship by reminding us of important ideas, events, and people. Different churches may use different symbols. Ask your pastor or leaders about the meaning of the symbols in your sanctuary. You might notice that there are different seasons and colors in the Christian year. You might see the colors white and gold, purple, green, or red used throughout the year. These highlight different seasons. Advent is the season of expectation and preparation for the coming of Christ. Christmastide celebrates the coming of Christ. The season of Epiphany celebrates Jesus, making his divine nature clear to others. Lent is a time of preparation for Easter. The Easter season is the highlight of the Christian year because it celebrates the resurrection of Jesus. Pentecost is often called the birthday of the Christian church. It celebrates the time when the Holy Spirit came upon the followers of Jesus. Ordinary time is a time of growth and working to bring about the reign of God on earth. Those are the seasons and colors of the church year. You may see the colors of the seasons change on the altar table, the lectern, and the pulpit. Now, as you see these seasons and colors change, you will know that each season represents a special time in the Christian year and in your life as a Christian. At special times or seasons in the church, you may receive instructions to light other candles that are not on the altar table. These candles are also Christian symbols. During Advent, the Acolytes help with the Advent candles. During Easter season and for baptisms, Acolytes will light the large candle called the Paschal candle, also called the Christ candle. Later, you will learn more about when to light these special candles. Every Sunday, the Acolytes will light the candles in the side windows of the sanctuary before the start of worship. After the worship service, the Acolytes use a special snuffer to put out those candles. The window candles symbolize our gathering for worship. These are some of the things about worship that will make your ministry as an acolyte more meaningful. Let's talk a little about what you'll be doing as an acolyte. First, it is important for you to come at least 10 minutes early before the start of the worship service. If you are in Sunday school, you may need to leave a little early. You'll need time to get dressed and to light the side window candles. Before the service, your main responsibility will be lighting the side candles. However, the acolytes should be willing to help in other ways if asked. Decide which acolyte will light the right altar candle and who will light the left side. Have you ever wondered why we use candles in church? Early in the life of the church, worshipers used candles as symbols for Jesus Christ. Candles remind us of Jesus' words, "I am the light of the world." As you prepare to light candles, it is a good idea to get help from an adult. You will use a lighter stored in the narthex. When you finish with the lighter, be sure to put it away where it won't be used by others. Before the start of the service, you will light the side candles. When you are done, blow out your candle lighters and then wait for the service to start. While you're waiting, be sure to stand or sit to the side so you don't block the main entrance. When the music starts, it will be your signal to light your candle lighter and wait for the center aisle to clear and then enter the sanctuary. The bringing in of the flame symbolizes Christ leading the church as it gathers to worship. As you walk down the aisle, keep your eye on the lighted taper. Stay together with your acolyte partner. It is important not to walk too fast so that the candle lighter remains lit. If it goes out, don't worry. Another acolyte may help you relight your candle. If you are the only acolyte, simply return and relight your candle lighter and try again. The pastor will also be able to relight your candle lighter. When you reach the steps to go up to the chancel and the altar table, stop, bow your head, and pause. You are showing respect as you approach the most holy place in the church. There are a few things to remember about lighting the candles. Always start on the right side of the table when lighting the candles. Always light the candles closest to the cross first. Those are the candles on the altar table. If there are other special candles to light, they are lit after the candles on the altar table. Moving outward from the cross, the other special candles are lit. This symbolizes the light that flows from Christ to the church. Remember to check the flames and make sure that none of the candles have gone out while the other candles are being lit. Sometimes a candle won't light. Don't worry, just leave the candle unlit. After lighting the candles, gently blow out the flame on your candle lighter and then put the candle lighter in the stand and go to your seat. The candles are usually extinguished as the congregation is singing the last part of the final hymn. You should look for a white dot on the screen. It will be your signal to stand up and get your candle lighter and put out the candles. You put out the candles in the reverse order from the way that they were lit. In other words, you start with any special candles and move to the altar table last. Before extinguishing the altar candles, the acolyte on the right should light their candle lighter from the altar candle on the right. Make sure that your candle lighter is lit before putting out both candles. The acolyte on the right should share the flame with the other acolyte. When you put out the candles, you will use the snuffer end of the candle lighter. The trick is to hold the snuffer over the flame long enough to snuff it out. With your lit candle lighter, you will then stop at the first row of pews and wait for the hymn to finish and the ending prayer. After the pastor says, Amen, you walk at a normal speed back down the aisle. The pastor and other worship leaders will walk behind you. When you carry the flame back down the aisle, it symbolizes the church going back into the world to serve. Blow out the candle lighter as soon as you exit the sanctuary. Make sure your candle lighters are carefully placed in the storage rack and your robe is carefully hung in the closet. Use the special snuffer to put out the side candles. Let your coordinator know if your robe needs to be cleaned. For special worship services, our church may have a processional at the beginning of the service. The acolytes will often lead the way. In some worship services, a banner or cross may be carried in also. Do you ever wonder why we have two candles on the altar table? The two candles symbolize that Christ was both fully divine and fully human. The candle on the right represents the divine or heavenly Christ who sits on the right hand of God the Father. The left candle represents the humanity of Christ who walked this earth. That is why the right candle is lit first if we only have one acolyte. At the end of the service, light is taken from the right candle to symbolize Christ going into the world. The acolyte coordinator will prepare a schedule so you will know when it's your turn to serve. Your parents will have the schedule. The schedule will also be posted in the acolyte closet and in your Sunday school room. If you are scheduled but cannot serve, please let the acolyte coordinator know or find a substitute. All in all, the acolyte is a very important member of the team of worship leaders. When you become an acolyte, you are taking part in a tradition that is almost as old as the Christian church itself. Your ministry as an acolyte is a valuable contribution to your church, and it can be the first step in a lifetime of service to your church and the world. Thank you so much for choosing to serve as an acolyte.